She said, "You're too sensitive." I was just being honest. After she crushed my self-respect in front of her friends, I smiled and said, "You're right. I am sensitive to disrespect." Then I stood up, dropped some cash on the table, and walked out. 2 hours later, she called me 20 times asking why her cards weren't working. My name's Evan, 28. Her name's Madison, 26. We'd been together for 3 years, living together for 1. I thought I was building a future. Turns out I was funding someone's fantasy. That morning, everything had started normal. Madison wanted to go to brunch with her 2 best friends, Chloe and Riley. I'd agreed, even though I hated those influencer-type brunches, the kind where people spend more time taking pictures and eating food. But I went because I loved her. I always went because I loved her. We sat down at this overpriced rooftop cafe. She ordered a $15 mimosa before the menus even hit the table. I ordered black coffee and a breakfast burrito. We were halfway through the small talk when Chloe leaned forward, smiling. "So, what are you two doing for your anniversary next month?" Madison looked at me, smirked, then back at her friends. Knowing Evan? Probably something basic. I froze. Chloe laughed awkwardly. "What do you mean?" Madison shrugged, swirling her drink. "Last year, he wrote me this handwritten letter. Like, yeah, it was sweet and all, but you can't exactly post a letter on Instagram, you know?" Her friends giggled. The sound hit harder than I expected. I'd spent weeks on that letter, writing, rewriting, making it perfect. She cried when she read it back then. Told me she'd never felt so loved. Now she was mocking it for clout. I forced a smile and stayed quiet. Riley said, "Honestly, that's kind of cute, though. I wish my boyfriend did that stuff." Madison rolled her eyes. "Please, words on paper don't pay for Cartier." They all laughed again. My stomach twisted, but I said nothing. I just kept eating, pretending it didn't sting. Then she kept going. "Evan thinks cooking dinner at home is romantic. Like, babe, pasta, and Netflix? That's not a date. That's meal prep." Even her friends looked uncomfortable now. Riley tried to change the subject. "I think home-cooked meals are nice." "Yeah, maybe if you're 80, Madison shot back. "We're young. We should be out living life, not acting like a retired couple." I remembered her saying once that my cooking made her feel safe, that our quiet nights in were her favorite. I guess that was just before Instagram followers became the new currency of affection. I took a breath. I'd planned to surprise her today anyway. We'd hit 3 years next month, and I'd secretly booked a weekend getaway to a vineyard she'd mentioned wanting to visit. Maybe revealing it would shut her up. So I said softly, "The vineyard trip next month should be nice." She blinked. "Vineyard? What vineyard?" "I booked us a weekend away," I said, trying to smile. "You mentioned it once. I thought you'd like it." Madison looked at me like I'd just announced we were going camping in a dumpster. "A vineyard? Really? How original." Every basic couple goes to wine country. Couldn't come up with anything unique. Her words hit like a slap. Chloe cleared her throat. "I think that sounds lovely." Madison laughed. "Sure, if you like being surrounded by middle-aged tourists in floppy hats." Even her own friend winced. But Madison wasn't done. She started listing every flaw she thought I had, one by one, like she'd been saving them for an audience. How he wears the same boring shirts. How he plays video games instead of taking me clubs. How he's always worried about saving money. And then, he even cried last year when his mom got sick. Like, I get it, but grow up. The table went silent. Even the waitress froze mid-step. Riley said quietly, "Mads, that's kind of harsh." Madison waved her hand. "What? I'm just being honest. He knows I keep it real, right, babe?" I looked at her. Really looked. Designer sunglasses I bought. Nails done with money from my credit card. Hair appointment I'd paid for. Sitting there, tearing me down to people who only tolerated her because she bought the next round of drinks. Something snapped. "You're absolutely right," I said. Standing up, she smirked, thinking I was agreeing. "See? He gets it." "And honestly," I continued, You're being disrespectful, and I'm too sensitive to tolerate disrespect. Her smile cracked. Babe, sit down. You're embarrassing yourself. No, I said calmly. I'm removing myself from an embarrassing situation. I put down cash for my meal, nodded politely to her friends, and walked out. Behind me, I heard her scoff. He'll be back. He's just being dramatic. Spoiler, I wouldn't be. I drove home, heart pounding but weirdly calm. Years of small humiliations, brushed off as jokes, suddenly made sense. Madison didn't want a partner. She wanted a sponsor. I'd been paying for nearly everything. Rent, car payments, her phone bill, her shopping emergencies, even her streaming services. She worked part-time at a boutique, but it barely covered her nails. I told myself it was temporary, that she was figuring it out. But now, I was done being her safety net. By the time her mimosa buzz wore off, her financial cushion would be gone. First step, I called my credit card company. She was an authorized user on all 3 of my cards. Removed her, effective immediately. Second, logged into Verizon. Remove her from my phone plan. Third, changed all my streaming passwords. Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus. Gone. Fourth, changed my bank login info. Took 45 minutes total. Then I sat down, opened a beer, and waited. At 1:47 p.m., the first call came. Evan. Her voice was sharp, panicked. My card just got declined at Sephora. What's going on? I didn't answer. The text followed. This isn't funny. Did you forget to pay the bill? Why can't I log into Netflix? Hello. 20 missed calls later, I got one from Chloe. Hey, Evan. Madison's kind of freaking out. What happened? She said I'm too sensitive. Turns out, she was right. Come on, Chloe said softly. She was wrong for what she said, but... No buts. I'm done funding someone who disrespects me in public. Riley texted next. You actually canceled her cards? I remove her access. That's not abuse. That's boundaries. By 4 p.m., Madison came storming through the apartment door like a hurricane. What did you do? Took your advice, I said, not even looking up from my laptop. I'm too sensitive, so I remove myself from situations that hurt my feelings, like paying for someone who thinks I'm basic. You cancel my phone. I couldn't even Uber home. Chloe had to pay. Sounds like you have a good friend there, I said. Maybe don't insult her boyfriend next time. She glared. You can't just cut me off. I have a facial tomorrow. I have plans this weekend. Better figure that out then. She stopped mid-rant. I can't afford the what? I asked. The lifestyle you mocked me for funding? Her face went through about 6 emotions. Anger, panic, fake tears, manipulation. Baby, she finally said softly. I was just joking around. You know how I get with the girls. Oh, I know, I said. That's the problem. I'll make it up to you tonight, she whispered. Whatever you want. What I want, I said, is for you to move out. She froze. You're kicking me out? Over brunch. Over 3 years of disrespect that culminated at brunch. You have 30 days. Legally required. Where am I supposed to go? That's not my problem anymore. She stared at me, realizing for the first time that I wasn't bluffing. Then came the tears, the ones she only shed when her comfort was threatened. You're really doing this after everything? After everything is exactly why I'm doing this. That was 3 hours ago. She's been in the bedroom calling everyone she knows, spinning the story. I'm abusive. I'm controlling. I'm manipulative. But Chloe and Riley were there. They saw everything. The truth has a way of surfacing. As for me, I'm sitting here eating leftover pasta, the same boring dinner she complained about, and I feel lighter than I have in years. She was right about one thing. I am too sensitive. Too sensitive to keep paying for my own disrespect. And something tells me this is just the beginning. It's been 48 hours since the brunch disaster, and I didn't realize how peaceful silence could be until my phone stopped blowing up with Madison's drama. Well, almost stopped. She's still trying. Yesterday morning, She posted a crying selfie on Instagram with the caption, "Sometimes the person you take a bullet for is the one holding the gun." She added a black heart emoji. Classic. Within minutes, her friends started flooding the comments. "You deserve better, babe. He'll regret it when you glow up. Stay strong, queen, nail polish, medium light skin tone." I didn't respond, didn't post, didn't defend myself. But then came the story post. A video of her teary-eyed saying, "Imagine dating a guy who controls your entire life, your phone, your money, your freedom, and then cuts you off when you speak your truth." That one got traction. Her little influencer circle started demanding me. "Bro, not cool. Why'd you freeze her cards?" Could have just talked it out. I ignored every one of them because I knew what was coming next. See, Madison never kept her lies straight for long. She was good at emotional performances, but terrible at consistency. And karma? Karma's got a wicked sense of humor. That afternoon, Chloe texted me, "Can we talk?" We met at a coffee shop near my work. She looked uncomfortable, but not hostile. "I just want to say," she started, "I know what happened at brunch, and I know what she's saying online isn't true." I raised an eyebrow. "She's spinning already?" Chloe sighed. "She's telling everyone you were controlling, that you tracked her phone and limited her spending." I actually laughed. Tracked her phone? She used my phone plan. And I was the one who couldn't get her to stop tagging locations for safety. Chloe nodded. "Yeah, I figured. I just wanted you to know I'm not buying it." That meant more than I expected. Turns out, Chloe had been silently collecting screenshots, texts, voice notes, even old DMs, where Madison bragged about milking the relationship for perks. Chloe showed me one. "If Evan's paying, I'm ordering lobster. Might as well get something out of this." That was from 3 months ago. I thanked her. Then she said something I didn't expect. "By the way, she's been seeing someone." I felt my stomach drop. "Who?" "Some guy named Trent. Works at that new gym downtown. She's been flirting with him for weeks. You probably paid for their smoothies." I stayed quiet. My heartbeat was calm, almost too calm. It didn't even hurt like I thought it would. It just confirmed everything. I went home and started cleaning. Not just the apartment, my entire life. Her clothes? Packed in boxes. Her jewelry? In a label bag. Her fancy makeup organizer? Sitting by the door. By the time she got home that evening, everything she owned was neatly stacked in the living room. She walked in, froze, and whispered, "What is this?" "Your things," I said. "You've got 2 weeks left on the lease, but I'd appreciate it if you moved sooner." Her face twisted. "You can't do this. I've got nowhere to go." "Trent might have a couch," I said, looking her dead in the eyes. Her lips parted. "What? How do you?" "Chloe told me." I said, "And before you say she's lying, I've seen the messages." She went pale. For the first time in years, Madison had no script, no tears, no excuses, just silence. "You know what the sad part is?" I said quietly, "If you just respected me, you'd still have everything." She stared at me, shaking. "You're going to regret this." "I already did," I said. "For 3 years." She left without another word. That night was the best sleep I'd had in months. The next morning, I went to work like nothing happened. Checked my emails, finished my reports, ate lunch with my coworker Jason, who'd been through his own messy breakup last year. "Man," he said, "you seem lighter. Finally dumped the drama?" "Yeah," I said, "or maybe it dumped itself." He laughed. "Good for you. By the way, I think I saw her on some influencer page whining about being financially abused." I almost choked on my sandwich. He showed me the post, shared on some lifestyle gossip account. Madison had posted a long caption about escaping a toxic, controlling relationship. And the comments were wild. Half her followers were worshiping her. The other half were skeptical. Someone commented, "Didn't you say last week your boyfriend paid for your car?" Someone else replied, "Girl, didn't you brag about your sugar rev in your story?" I couldn't help it. I laughed out loud. Jason grinned. "Looks like the internet's doing your revenge for you." He wasn't wrong. Within hours, the post blew up for all the wrong reasons. People started reposting screenshots of her old bragging stories, her shopping hauls, her self-made quotes, all time-stamped with captions like #financially independent my ass. By the evening, she deleted the post, but the damage was done. The gossip page uploaded a side-by-side comparison of her old posts versus her crying story. It was brutal. Left, "Thank you to my amazing boyfriend for this new MacBook." Right? "He controlled my finances and wouldn't let me live." The comments? A bloodbath. She went from getting sympathy to getting roasted in less than 12 hours. I didn't lift a finger. For once, karma moved faster than I ever could. Around midnight, Chloe texted again. "You probably shouldn't check her Instagram stories." Of course I did. There she was, sobbing again, talking about fake friends who betrayed her, saying, "I guess loyalty doesn't exist anymore. Everyone's out to ruin me." I actually felt a flicker of pity, not for her, but for whoever fell for her next. But then I saw something else, something that made me sit up straight. She'd tagged me. "At Evan Thorne ruined my life." And suddenly my DMs started blowing up. Not hate, just confusion. People I hadn't talked to in years messaging. "Dude, what's going on? Didn't she cheat on you? Bro, is this about that brunch thing?" So I decided to post once. Just once. No rant. No drama. Just facts. I uploaded a single screenshot. Her text from a few weeks ago that read, "Can you transfer me $200? I spent too much on lashes again, loudly crying face, love you," and captioned it. This was 3 days before she said I controlled her finances. I think that's all that needs to be said. I didn't tag her. I didn't mention her name. But everyone knew. Within an hour, my post had double the engagement of hers. Chloe even commented, "Tell me again who was controlling who?" Riley added, "Team Evan." Madison deleted her entire account that night. And for the first time since that awful brunch, I felt free. Not triumphant. Not smug. Just clean. Like I'd finally washed the last bit of her out of my life. When I saw the name pop up, Trent W., I almost laughed. Out of everyone in this mess, he was the last person I expected to hear from. His message just said, "Hey man, I think we need to talk." No context. No greeting. Just that. I stared at it for a minute. Then curiosity got the better of me. "About what?" I replied. He responded almost instantly. "About Madison. She told me some things. I'm starting to think she lied." I leaned back in my chair, half amused, half irritated. "What did she tell you?" "That you were controlling. That you tracked her phone, cut her off financially, and wouldn't let her have friends. But now she's been calling me nonstop, and she's kind of scaring me." I blinked. I didn't know whether to laugh or feel sorry for him. Turns out, Madison had moved straight from my apartment into Trent's. Literally the next night after I kicked her out. She told him she just needed a few days to get back on her feet. Then a week later, she was rearranging his furniture and using his credit card just until her accounts were fixed. Sound familiar? I could have told him this was her entire playbook, but something inside me said to stay quiet. Let him see it himself. I'm not surprised. I texted back, but thanks for the heads up. He sent one more message. "She's been trying to get me to DM you. Said you owe her money for the stuff in your apartment." I smiled. "She took everything that was hers." I said, "If she's missing something, it probably belongs to me." He replied with a simple, "Yeah, I'm starting to get that." That was the last I heard from him, at least for a while. Then, 2 weeks later, I ran into him. At the gym, of all places. I just finished my last set when someone tapped my shoulder. I turned around and there he was, Trent, the gym guy, looking like he hadn't slept in days. "Hey," he said, "can we talk for a sec?" We stepped outside and he exhaled hard. "Man, I should have listened. You tried to warn me without warning me. What happened?" I asked, though I already had a feeling. He rubbed the back of his neck. "She trashed my place, said I was using her, took my PlayStation, my laptop, and my AirPods when she stormed out." I didn't even fake surprise. Yeah, sounds like her. He laughed bitterly. She even tried to drain my Venmo. Bro told me she'd earned it for emotional damage. I couldn't help it. I actually laughed out loud. Trent looked embarrassed, but relieved. She's posting about me now, calling me her second abuser. Welcome to the club, I said. He nodded slowly. You know, I used to think karma was fake. Now I think it just runs late. That line stuck with me, because karma was catching up with her. And I didn't even have to lift a finger. 2 days later, Chloe texted again. You're not going to believe this. She sent me a screenshot. Madison had tried to start a GoFundMe. The title? Starting over after escaping a toxic relationship broken heart. She was asking for $5,000 to rebuild her life. The description read like a bad movie script, full of half-truths and dramatic flair. But the comments? They were brutal. People had receipts. Literal screenshots of her designer hauls, sponsored posts, and fake sob stories. One user commented, "Didn't you just post from a spa last week?" Another wrote, "This girl cried broke while holding a Louis Vuitton bag." Within 24 hours, the campaign was reported and taken down. I didn't gloat. I didn't even share it. But I'll admit, it felt good knowing she was finally out of people to manipulate. Then came the real twist. A month after our breakup, I got a letter in the mail. It was from our old landlord. Apparently, when we'd applied for the apartment together, Madison's credit score wasn't high enough. So I co-signed. No big deal at the time. But now, since she hadn't updated her forwarding address, her new situation was still tied to my name. The landlord had attached a note. Thought you should know. Your ex tried to apply for a new lease under your name. Again. She'd literally tried to forge my information to get another apartment. That was the final straw. I filed a report for attempted identity fraud. Not because I wanted to see her punished, but because I needed to protect myself. The detective who handled the case called me 2 weeks later. Yeah, we spoke to her. He said, "She's quite a character." I could hear him smiling through the phone. She said it was a misunderstanding, but once we mentioned the forged documents, she backed down. "You're clear, sir." Relief washed over me. That was the day I finally blocked her on everything. Every platform, every number, every trace. No angry text. No goodbye. Just silence. And silence, I've learned, is the loudest revenge. Fast forward to today, 3 months later. I've moved into a new place, smaller but peaceful. Got a new job offer at a tech firm in Denver. Even started seeing someone casually. A woman named Lena, who doesn't care about designer bags or viral brunches. She laughs at my corny jokes, brings me coffee unasked, and doesn't post every meal online. She's real, but the past still tries to haunt me sometimes. Last week, I got another message request from an unfamiliar account. The username? @NewMadisonStart. The message read, "You won. Happy now?" I didn't respond, because this wasn't a competition. It was a lesson, a painful, humiliating, expensive lesson, but one that freed me. And maybe someday, she'll learn hers too. Until then, I'll keep doing what she never did. Living quietly, honestly, without needing validation from strangers. And if there's one thing I've learned from all this, it's that revenge doesn't always need fire or fury. Sometimes, it just looks like moving on. 6 months. That's how long it's been since the brunch that detonated my old life. Half a year since the day I finally stood up for myself and walked away. If you told me back then that I'd be grateful for that humiliation, I'd have laughed in your face. But now, I get it. Pain is sometimes the tuition you pay for peace. Life's been quiet, peaceful, simple in ways I forgot were possible. I still go to the same cafe every morning before work. The barista knows my name now. Evan Black Coffee, no sugar. No one rolls their eyes. No one records me for Instagram stories. Lena's still in my life too. What started as casual has become something real. Something I don't have to perform for. She doesn't care that I drive an old car. She doesn't care that my weekends are Netflix and pasta instead of nightclubs and photo ops. She likes me, And I think that's what I'd forgotten love was supposed to feel like. Calm, not chaotic. But life's funny. Just when you finally stop thinking about someone, the universe throws them back in your path. It happened last week. I was at a grocery store near downtown, grabbing a few things before heading home. I turned the corner into the frozen aisle, and there she was. Madison. Same glossy hair, but duller somehow. Eyes tired. Designer bag replaced with something cheaper. Nails chipped. She froze too. For a split second, the world went silent except for the low hum of the refrigerators. Then she forced a smile. Evan, wow. Long time. Yeah, I said. Been a while. She glanced at the cart in front of me. Simple stuff. Eggs, pasta, a bottle of wine. You still eating that boring pasta? She asked, half joking. I smiled. Yeah, still tastes pretty good. She laughed awkwardly. You look different. Happier, I guess. I am, I said. Her expression faltered. Good. That's good. For a moment, I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. Then she said, You know, I never meant for things to go like that. I just... Madison, I said gently, you don't have to explain. We were just different people. You wanted the world to see you happy. I just wanted to be happy. She looked down at her shoes, silent. Then she whispered, They canceled me, you know. I heard, I said. She gave a small laugh, but it cracked in the middle. Brands dropped me. Followers left. I couldn't get a single sponsorship after that GoFundMe mess. I had to get a regular job. I raised an eyebrow. Where at? She sighed. Receptionist. At a dental office. I nodded slowly. That's honest work. Yeah, well, she said, trying to smile again. Not exactly what I planned. I guess plans change, I said. We stood there in awkward silence for a few seconds. Then she said, almost whispering, You really moved on, didn't you? Yeah, I said softly. For the first time in a long time. She blinked hard, like she was fighting tears. I'm sorry, Evan, for everything. I was just so scared of being ordinary. That's the thing, I said. Being ordinary isn't the problem. Pretending you're not, that's what ruins people. She nodded. Yeah, I learned that too late. I didn't know what else to say, so I just nodded back. Take care of yourself, Madison. And I walked away. No anger, no gloating, just peace. When I got home, Lena was already there, barefoot, curled up on the couch, reading. She looked up, smiled, and said, Hey, pasta night? Yeah, I said, smiling back. Pasta night. We cooked together, laughing about nothing important. She spilled sauce on her shirt. I teased her. She threw a towel at me. It was simple, imperfect, and absolutely perfect. As we ate, I thought about how far I'd come. From being mocked in public by someone I loved, to sitting here with someone who respected me in private. That's real revenge. Not proving them wrong. Not getting even. Just building a life so peaceful that their chaos no longer echoes inside you. Later that night, I got one final message. From a random account with no profile picture. I hope you're happy. I didn't need to guess who it was. I typed one reply. I am. I really am. Then I blocked it. For good this time. I looked over at Lena, who was humming softly while scrolling through her phone. And I realized something that I wish I could tell everyone who's ever been hurt, used, or disrespected. Revenge isn't about destruction. It's about restoration. It's about rebuilding the parts of yourself they tried to break. And when you finally do, you don't just win. You heal. That's what I did. And maybe, just maybe, that's the best revenge there is. And with that, our story comes to an end. But the real story begins with your thoughts. What would you do if you were in this situation? Let me know in the comments.